Hello, my name is Alyssa Knight. Some of you may recognize me from Devil Wears Prada, as well as the hit series Mr. Robot. Just kidding, no. I am the group CEO of Breyer and Thorn. We are an IT risk management firm that specializes in IT risk management consulting, such as penetration testing, incident response, and forensics, as well as managed security services, where we'll provide 24/7, 365 network security monitoring from our security operations centers. I've worked in cybersecurity for roughly about 18 years now. I got my first job in cybersecurity in 2000, and since then have grown from initially doing penetration testing and incident response and forensics to focusing on IoT cybersecurity, where in about 5 years ago, started focusing on penetration testing connected cars. Every year I speak at about a dozen security conferences across North America, Europe, and Asia on hacking connected cars or performing IT risk assessments against electronic control units, telematics control units, infotainment systems. Today we're going to focus on the most common question that I get from people on LinkedIn, and that's how do I get started in cybersecurity? So I'll cover things at a superficial level in hopes of giving you the guidance that I would have liked to get when I first started. When I started hacking when I was about 13 years old. Back then, there really weren't many resources available to learn cybersecurity, learn how to hack. Everything I learned on Internet Relay Chat, or IRC. Things started to really change in the mid-90s. That's when I got introduced to Internet Relay Chat, Pound Hack, FNet, and started learning more about hacking and cybersecurity in general. We didn't really have the resources available that you have today. We didn't have Security Focus, we didn't have Twitter, we didn't have dark reading, we didn't have all of these other resources that are very prevalent today in learning cybersecurity. Colleges weren't offering degrees in cybersecurity. You didn't really have the SANS Institute. You didn't have a lot of these training and certification options that are so prevalent today. So where do you start? First off, you really need to understand the basics of operating systems and software. You can't learn how to hack something or really take something apart until you fully understand how it works. Install Ubuntu, install CentOS, install Red Hat, whatever distro it is that you're more comfortable with, whatever package manager that you're more comfortable with, install that distro, use it as a desktop, use it as your everyday operating system. If you want to learn how to hack Linux, if you want to learn how to perform forensics on Linux, you really need to know how to actually use the operating system. Next, understand networking and the fundamentals of networking. Understand the TCP three-way handshake, SYN, SYN, ACK, ACK. Understand the OSI model and all its 7 layers: application, presentation, session, transport, network, data link, physical. Understand what each layer of the OSI model and the TCP IP model actually do. Understand where packets traverse and what layer that happens on. Understand sessions and session negotiation. Understand the difference between TCP and UDP, and that TCP is a session-oriented protocol. Understand how DNS works and what protocols DNS uses, both TCP and UDP, depending on the actual session. Once you understand the fundamentals of operating systems and networking, next you're going to want to figure out what within cybersecurity it is you want to specialize in. Remember, you can't be a jack of all trades, master of all. I've never met in my career somebody who was a senior application security engineer, senior incident responder and forensic analyst, senior malware analyst, a senior penetration tester, senior, intrusion analyst, senior packet analyst. You want to find your niche and really develop and hone those skills. So figure out your niche. Do you want to be an application security engineer? If so, you're probably going to need to understand programming. You're going to need to understand SQL injection. So you're going to need to understand SQL. You're going to need to understand application servers and backend database systems, MS SQL, MySQL, Postgres. You're going to need to understand memory and memory allocation, buffer overflows, heap overflows, stack overflows. Those are all things that are going to come into play as an application security engineer. Do you want to be a penetration tester? Do you want to be an incident responder? Do you want to be a forensic analyst? Do you want to be a malware analyst? All of these things are things that you need to think through. Getting to this point is going to be challenging. Once you've mastered system administration, you feel like you've mastered networking, and you're ready to take on becoming a cybersecurity engineer. It's really important that no matter what you choose, that you're having fun, that it's something that you're going to enjoy doing, waking up and going to sleep every night, eating, drinking, and sleeping. This isn't going to be easy. It's not going to be an easy journey. Even getting to this point wasn't easy. So just remember that whatever it is you want to specialize in is something that you're really going to enjoy, because it's going to take a lot of work. It's going to take a lot of reading. It's going to training seminars. It's going to SANS Institute and getting certifications and GIAC certifications, or certified ethical hacker certifications, or offensive security certifications. All of these things are going to take a lot of time, a lot of effort, and so make sure you're having fun. In trying to figure out your niche, you need to figure out whether or not really are you going to want to be on the blue team or red team in cybersecurity engagements. Blue team is more defensive cybersecurity, so monitoring logs, packet analysis, analyzing systems forensics, incident response. That's blue team activity. Red team activity is the offensive side of cybersecurity. It's penetration testing. It's being that web application penetration tester, or network penetration tester, or IoT penetration tester if you want to target connected consumer devices or connected cars. Next, you're going to want to focus on getting certifications. Now, the big question that I get a lot is, do I need to get a degree? Am I going to need a 4-year degree or an advanced degree, a postgrad? All of these things are great questions. I'm going to say that while I understand this is going to be a very polarized discussion and there's going to be individuals with different opinions on this, my belief has always been that there are certain professions where a degree makes sense. Being a doctor, being a lawyer, these are all fields where a degree is absolutely critical, of course. I don't believe that cybersecurity is an industry that requires a degree. As a matter of fact, just yesterday, an article came out about 15 very large companies that are now waiving their 4-year degree requirement in order to work there. Google used to have this requirement. They are no longer requiring a degree. Even Ernst & Young, a very large consulting firm, no longer requires a 4-year degree. And these are the McKinseys of the world, or the Accentures of the world. The Deloittes of the world that used to require 4-year degrees are now moving in the direction of no longer requiring it. And it looks like Ernst & Young is actually leading that direction. So, do I think that a degree is required to go far in cybersecurity? No. It is very cool that universities and schools are now offering a degree in cybersecurity. I would definitely say if you have the time and the money to pursue that, to do so. Maybe, burning the midnight oil or burning the candle at both ends of the stick, maybe going to school part-time in the evening and working full-time to get that work experience. But as a hiring manager, and also, companies that I've worked for in previous lives, hands-on experience always will trump that formal education, especially in cybersecurity. I would much rather hire somebody that has done a large number of penetration tests if I'm hiring a pen tester. I want to see their reports that they've written. It's not just about, running Metasploit and, getting a interpreter shell. A lot of the emphasis I place on importance is in developing that report, so report writing. But I don't think that degrees are absolutely critical in cybersecurity. I think certifications are important. Those are definitely important. I don't think I put as much emphasis on them as other hiring managers. For example, I would much rather take a very seasoned, very experienced cybersecurity engineer who doesn't have any certifications rather than somebody that has gone through the certification mill, gotten a large number of acronyms of, certifications after their name, who doesn't really understand even a TCP three-way handshake, or can't tell me all of the headers of a packet. I tend to lean more towards somebody with that real world experience that has been there, done that, understands the concepts, the methodologies, and the tools, tactics, techniques, and procedures of what it is we're doing. That's not to say that certifications are bad. That's not to say that degrees are bad. So please don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that if you have certifications, it's not a good thing. I'm saying that if you have them, great. If you have the time to pursue them, great. If you have the money to pursue them, great. SANS in particular, incredibly expensive to attend those training and certification courses. But if you have them, that's great. I once upon a time, I had a GCIA Gold certification, GX Certified Intrusion Analyst. I, once had a CISSP. I just didn't keep up the CPE credits. I didn't keep, submitting my CPE credits to be able to maintain it. For me, a lot of those certifications now, OSCP I think is unique in the fact that there's a lot of heavy lab work, there's a lot of hands-on practical work, but a lot of the certifications, especially for example the CISSP, it's going home, reading all of the material, and then memorizing it, going in the next day and taking the exam and working off of memory. I would much rather somebody who had that hands-on practical experience on my team than somebody that can memorize things from a book and go in and pass an exam. So certifications, yes, great. Degrees, not really. If you have a degree, that's awesome. A degree will never hold you back from success in your career. Get that first job. That's really important. Getting that experience. If you're just out of school, you want to develop these areas that I mentioned, really understanding the basic fundamentals of operating systems, applications, and networking, and then moving on to cybersecurity from there. It's kind of like jumping right away to the good stuff, the fun stuff, right? The analogy that comes to my head is the Karate Kid, when Daniel LaRusso was, painting the fence and, cleaning and sanding, and waxing before he got to the actual martial arts, not realizing that those foundational pieces of wax on and wax off were very critical to the actual martial arts itself. So, understanding the operating systems and networking, understanding that those are critical to the mindset and the things that you'll be doing in cybersecurity. So, question of the day. If you're a cybersecurity engineer, what was your journey like? Did you start out as a system administrator? Did you start out as a network engineer? Let me and the others know about what your journey has been like. Some of the best cybersecurity engineers I've ever met started out as hardcore network engineers with a bunch of Cisco certifications. They can recite the layers of a packet. They can subnet network blocks and CIDR blocks in their head without a subnet calculator. So if you like this video, please like it, subscribe to my channel, follow me on my other social network platforms, on Twitter, on LinkedIn, follow me on Medium where I publish articles every week, follow me on Libsyn or iTunes with my weekly podcasts, and follow me here. So to quote Bob Barker, be good to yourselves and each other.